Hello, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Simone Redmond, and in this particular video, I'm going to be giving you my personal opinion on the things that me and my husband liked and didn't like on our recent cruise upon Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas. All right, so welcome back. And so with this particular video, I'm just going to be sharing our experience upon Wonder of the Seas by Royal Caribbean. This is a second wedding anniversary gift to my husband, and I wanted us to go all out for it. I was very excited about this cruise ship. I remember when it was launched. I think their very first inaugural sailing was like March of 2022, which was around my birthday. So of course I was just like very excited. There's a brand new Oasis class ship, and we were excited to go on it. So let me tell you what type of room we booked. So we booked a grand suite. We were in room 1774, and if you want to check out what that room looked like, what the bathroom looked like, the entire layout of it, you can check that out right there. So I booked this a grand suite because I wanted us to go all out. I was like, listen, C class is great, which is junior suites. C class is great, but I want to go up the next level. So there are 3 different types of levels when it comes to the suites upon Royal Caribbean. So you have C class, you have Sky class, and then you have Star class. So we booked a grand suite, which is in Star class, and there are certain amenities that come with that you don't have to worry about, you don't have to pay for. The next, which we will love to do, is to have a Star class suite, but of course, you know, that takes time for us to get to that level, but we're going to get there eventually. So I have a few notes that I have on my phone that I want to kind of, you know, talk to you about so I don't get lost inside of this video. So here are some of the things that we received inside of our grand suite. Okay, so we received concierge, we received coastal kitchen, access to coastal kitchen, we received Voom internet access, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. We also had priority embarkation and debarkation as well. And we also had access to the suite sun deck. So concierge was freaking phenomenal. Now, the only thing that I wish I did know before is that concierge is there for you. Never really thought about it. We actually went and talked to somebody, but I didn't understand the benefit of it. And so I did my research after we got off the cruise ship, and I was like, oh, really wish we could have used them. That would have saved us so much time once we got on the ship. So the concierge, especially if you have a Sky class type of cabin, is that they are able to book shows for you. They are able to book reservations at restaurants, especially if you have the dining package. They're able to do all of that for you so that you do not have to worry about standing in long lines trying to make reservations. I really wish I would have known that, because that line to make a reservation at Izumi for the hibachi restaurant was freaking long, okay? And that could have been time for us to be like exploring the ship, having a good time, you know, really getting into our groove of things before the ship sailed away. So that's one of the things that I wish that we took more advantage of, but we will do that the next time. We also had access to Coastal Kitchen. So at Coastal Kitchen, it is a restaurant specifically for suite guests. Now, if you have a junior suite, you are only able to get access to Coastal Kitchen during dinner time, and you have to make reservations if they have room available. Okay, if they have space available and you have a junior suite, you are able to eat there just for dinner only. But if you have a Sky class or a Star class suite, you are able to eat there breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The only thing was that we had to make reservations just like junior suites for dinner, but everything else was just kind of like open, okay? And then they also had like a little snack bar. We would go in there, get a little snacks, get some fruit or whatever, and then just go up to the suite sun deck and have a good time. So that's what Coastal Kitchen is all about. And then with Coastal Kitchen, you're able to look out. You can see the basketball court, you can see the swimming pools, you can see the zip line, you can just see the whole thing. It was just such a great view, and the vibes up there are immaculate, okay? Like if you love luxury things, it gives it like a luxury vibe, and I just absolutely loved it. The next thing, Voom internet access. All right, so Voom internet access was complimentary for us the entire 7 days of our cruise ship, and All we had to do was go downstairs to the main promenade level and go to the Boom internet desk and just ask them to help us set it up. That's all we had to do. They helped us set it up. They set it up for my husband's phone and for my phone, and we were good to go. So that's what I love about having a grand suite and being in Sky Class, is that everybody in the room gets internet access. Okay, so it's very high class, it's fast internet. Like, I never had an issue like uploading videos or posting photos or sending messages to my family. It was phenomenal. Like, I absolutely loved it. Okay, so one thing that I will say is that if you do, you know, of course you're gonna have a cell phone, but if you turn on Wi-Fi calling, especially if you have an iPhone, you are able to still make phone calls and send text messages and stuff like that over Wi-Fi, because you're on Wi-Fi and you're doing Wi-Fi calling. And so of course there's no charges because your phone's in airplane mode and you're on Wi-Fi. You're still able to make phone calls. So we had priority embarkation and debarkation. So with priority embarkation, there were two different lines when we got to the cruise port. You had regular inside cabin, outside balcony cabin suites to the left, and then to the right were suites and Pinnacle members. So we went to the line where it was suites and Pinnacle members. The line was super easy to go through. Like, all they did was they checked our documents, make sure everything was good, and of course checked our carry-on luggage, and we went on. Okay, everything was fine. It was so wonderful. And all we had to do when we got through security, we went up to a particular lady, and she was like, oh, okay, yes, you all are with suites or whatever. We showed her our room, we showed her our documents, our, I believe it was my driver's license and my passport. And I also showed her our ticket, you know, that's on the phone that you can show them to say, okay, hey, I'm in a suite, here's my particular room for this cruise ship. And they were like, all right, cool, go ahead and go on. So of course we did set a time to actually board the cruise ship, and I think it was at like 1 o'clock, but we got there at like 11. We were on board the ship at 11, like at least by 11:15. No problems at all, right? So that was really cool. And then priority debarkation is that our suitcases were separate from everybody else's, like all the suite members, where we all had our own little area to get our suitcases and get our things off when we got off the cruise ship. Okay, we also had breakfast at Coastal Kitchen on our very last day, and we selected a time of when we wanted to get off the ship, so there really was no rush for us to say, oh, we got to get off the ship exactly at 6 o'clock in the morning when we come back to Orlando, to Port Canaveral. So that was really cool too. And then we had access to the suite sun deck. Now, I absolutely love the suite sun deck because I was just like, this is where I need to be. I don't want to be in the crowded pools. I'm a very introverted person. So for me, I'm like, I don't want to be around a ton of people. Kind of crazy, right? But I'm on a cruise ship with like 5,000, 6,000 people, but I don't want to be around a whole bunch of people. Really odd, but it was just my type of vibe. I loved it. You know, there's a sweet sun deck bar where you can go up there, get your drinks, especially if you have the unlimited alcohol or the unlimited refreshment package with the alcoholic drinks. Everything is included. You just go up there, hey, I want this type of drink, and you show them, you know, what you have, or you give them your room number, and they're like, oh, okay, you have this particular package. Okay, here you go. So that's what we did. That was really fun as well. They had like a little jacuzzi, and they had a wading pool as well, but of course, you know, it's not really like an actual pool. On Icon of the Seas, I think they have an actual smaller little pool. That's really cool up on the Sweet Sun Deck, so can't wait to experience that. But the Sweet Sun Deck, I absolutely loved it. The only downside to it is how they actually made the Sweet Sun Deck. So there is soot that does come on the chairs that are up in the Sweet Sun Deck, and so you can't really sit up in some of the chairs because soot gets on them, which is kind of crazy, but you know, hey, that's just how they designed it. So the Sweet Sun Deck is actually in the front of the ship on Icon of the Seas, which kind of eliminates that need to say, oh, they're soot on the chairs, we can't really use them because you might have soot on your skin or whatever, on your clothes, all that good stuff. So that's something that we also utilized as well, and I absolutely loved it. Let's start with some of the things that we loved and liked about the cruise ship. Now, I love that the cruise ship was so huge that even though there's about 6,000 people on this cruise ship, maybe a little bit less, it never felt crowded to me. Ever. Even when we went on a cruise port or whatever, I never felt like it was crowded. The only downside that I didn't like was that it was really hard for us to get elevators to go back up to the 17th floor because there really was no particular elevator for suites and suites only. Like, you have to ride with everybody else. So it was really hard, and it took a long time for us to get back up to the 17th floor. So what we would do is go up to the 16th floor and then just take the stairs up to the 17th floor, and we didn't have to worry about it too much. But only downside to it. But the cruise ship never felt crowded. I never felt like it was a ton of people. Now, mind you, this was my second Royal Caribbean cruise. My first one was on Independence of the Seas, so there is a huge difference between the two classes. But Independence of the Seas, I never felt it was crowded either. But Wonder, I felt like, oh, it's such a big ship. You don't see everybody. It was never crowded, okay? Never crowded until it was time to leave the cruise ship. That's when I was like, oh, it's a ton of people on this ship, you know? So never felt like it was a lot of people. One of the things that we absolutely loved, especially restaurants, is the Mason Jar. The Mason Jar is a specialty restaurant, is a Southern specialty restaurant. So of course, if you love chicken and waffles, this is your place to go. So of course, with me being from Nashville, Tennessee and living near Atlanta, Georgia, I was like, hey, we gotta go check this out. So that was one of the restaurants that we booked on, I think our last sea day before we came back to Port Canaveral. So I think I had some fried chicken, which was more than what I could actually eat. It was a lot. And I also had, I think it was crawfish and rice. I don't know if it's like crawfish etouffee. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but here's the image for that. It was really good, right? I absolutely loved it. It was so good. It was so worth it. The alcohol drinks were amazing in there. And we had a really good time. Like, that is one of the restaurants that I will highly recommend to anybody, especially if you are a sucker for Southern food. It was really good. Collard greens were great. The food was just immaculate. I absolutely loved it. So it's a really good concept, really cool concept. When we went, there is a stage where people can perform. Nobody was performing at that time, but it still was good. We absolutely loved it. Another restaurant that we loved, which is a really cool concept, is Izumi. So Izumi is kind of small on Wonder of the Seas, but I know on Icon it's like a little bit bigger, and I can't wait to experience that. But Izumi was really cool because we booked our time for that Sunday at like 9 o'clock. It's kind of late, but that's the only time that they really had on Sunday. So we went in and we had a really good time. So what we loved about Izumi was that the portion sizes were really, like a really good portion size, because of course there are no microwaves in the room. So whatever you don't eat is just whatever you don't eat. But I actually ate all my food, and it was enough to where I was like, okay, I don't have leftovers, and I feel full, like I'm good. And so we had a really good time with that. I also ate some sushi. I can't remember what kind of sushi I had, but it was good. I loved Izumi. I cannot wait to go back to Izumi when we go back on this cruise ship in September and experience it. So it was really fun for us as well. All right, next restaurant that we loved was Johnny Rockets. So here is our tradition, me and my husband's tradition. So we've kind of started our own little tradition with Royal Caribbean. So every time we go on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, the very first restaurant that we go to is Johnny Rockets. Get a little milkshake, you know, eat a burger and some fries, and you're good to go, right? So on embarkation day, I tried not to eat because I know that we were going to Johnny Rockets and I know that we're going to experience it. So, you know, I am upset that Johnny Rockets is not on Icon of the Seas, but you know, that's okay. We're gonna find another tradition. But for the most part, we're gonna be eating at Johnny Rockets, and we had a really good time. We built our relationship with a particular waiter who was there. He was very fun, very animated, and we had a really good time with him. So one of the things that I need to kind of figure out is if they have milk substitutes. I will figure that out in September when we go back, because I am a person who cannot drink regular milk. I can drink, you know, eat cheese and all the other stuff, but regular milk I cannot do. So I'm going to have to figure out if there are milk alternatives that they can make milkshakes from. If not, I'll just have to suffer and deal with it for the next trip. So that is our Royal Caribbean tradition that we do every single Royal Caribbean cruise. And we absolutely love it. Johnny Rockets is a great place to eat at. Okay, so I have always heard so many good things about the Aqua Theater show. Let me tell you, it is so worth it. Okay, please go. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you go. The show was freaking fantastic. I had a wonderful time. We were sitting up on like the balcony where the rock climbing walls were, so that's how we had a really good view. We were sitting on the ground. It's kind of cushioned, so it didn't hurt or anything. We were just sitting down, and we had a really good time. You know, I recorded some of the stuff and the show was phenomenal. The women there who were performing, they are true athletes and they did a fantastic job for the Aqua Theater show. And if you want to check it out, please do. I highly suggest that you do. And it's at the very end of the ship. It's at the very back of the ship, so you can't miss it, of course. But and it's on the boardwalk. So the boardwalk is fun. You have like, you know, the carousel and the candy shop. This is where Playmakers is, the sports bar. So we did eat there at Playmakers. That was really good as well. But yeah, make sure that you definitely check out the Aqua Theater show. You're going to love it. It was freaking phenomenal. So my favorite part, okay? My favorite part of Wonder of the Seas was the silent party, okay? Now, the downside to the silent party that I was not a real big fan of, it was in the solarium. So in the solarium, of course, it's warm. They have jacuzzis there. People can eat dinner. You know, they have like the little area where you can, you know, it's tons of chairs, jacuzzis. It's really like a place to kind of chill. It's for people who are 16 and up. And this is kind of like, I guess you can say like the sweet sun deck of people who are not in the suites. And the only downside to it, it was very hot in the solarium for the silent party, but I've never been to a silent party before. So that was why I was like, okay, we got to try this out. I'm excited about this. This is going to work very well. And we did. I had a great time. And I was like, I'm so glad that I did not go to sleep early that day because I was so going to miss it. And my husband was like, hey, there's a silent party. You want to go? And I was like, yeah, I guess we can go. Had a great time. So they gave you like these headphones and you can switch between two different stations. We were all in there doing the wobble. We were doing the cha-cha slide. We were doing the Cupid shuffle, you know, just having a good time. Oh my gosh, that was such a highlight for me and I cannot wait to experience it. Hopefully I won't have to experience it with all the heat, but I think I will have to deal with it. But that was fun too. Some of the other things that we did, we went to Giovanni's, the Italian restaurant. I absolutely love Giovanni's, really good. We hid ducks around the ship. Like I found some from the people who are in our Facebook group for the particular cruise. And I found some ducks and then I hid some ducks. So it was really cool too. That was fun. So after we did our muster drill, we came on, we was like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest ship ever. And we did our muster drill ASAP. We met at our station, which our station was at the Bionic Bar. And we also went and got some I got an Amaretto sour. My husband got a Long Island iced tea from the Rising Tide bar. And so this bar, it literally floats between 2 or 3 floors. It just literally just goes up and down. And you can sit on there and you just rise up and then you rise back down. So that was kind of cool. And the drinks were phenomenal, okay? I absolutely loved it. And that was where we had like 4 to 5 drinks before we were like, hey, let's go to Johnny Rockets and enjoy our milkshakes. So yeah, we had alcohol on top of milkshakes. It was a very interesting combination. But so we also did the Bionic bar. That was cool too. So you have like this robot. So you take your room key card and you scan it and then you kind of choose which drink that you want, especially if you have the unlimited alcohol package. You choose what drink you want and then it'll make it for you. It has like a little kiosk that tells you like your name, where they are in this process of making your drink. And then it slides up and then you have to scan your key card to get the actual drink to make sure that it is you getting the drink and not somebody else taking your drink. Okay, so the Bionic bar was a really cool concept. We love Central Park. We didn't really get to like sit and chill in Central Park and have like a date night as we were on the cruise ship, but it's a very nice area, all the lush plants on the walls and, you know, in between and the little pathways. Central Park is very nice, okay? Very nice. We did try acupuncture at the spa. We didn't really get the full package. It was kind of like a little sample just to kind of see how things worked for us. I loved it because they had put some things in my knee. I do have a knee issue on my left knee, and they put like some acupuncture needles in my knee. That was fun. And then the drink package, absolutely worth it. Okay, I don't care what nobody says, the drink package is absolutely worth it. And the dining package is a must, especially if you're like, you know what, if you're in a sky class suite and you're like, I'm not feeling the whole going to Coastal Kitchen every single day to eat, there are different options. And so the Mason Jar, Giovanni's, and some other restaurant, Johnny Rockets as well, is included in the dining package, the unlimited dining package. We love Hooked Seafood, okay? Hooked Seafood was great. So Hooked Seafood is literally on top of the solarium. So there's like 2 levels in the solarium, and the bottom part was where we had the silent party, and then the top part is where Hooked is. So Hooked Seafood was really well. I had a lobster tail, and I think I had some broccolini. And I can't remember what my husband had, but I was just so amazed with the food. It was delicious. And the promenade, love the promenade. It's so wide, so open. I love that they have Starbucks in there for the people who are Starbucks addicts, me. And the only downside is that with Starbucks, you do have to pay for it on your actual credit card. You cannot charge it to, like, it's not included in the drink packages. So I didn't really drink a lot of Starbucks, but I did get my fix when I needed it. And Sorrento's Pizza, love Sorrento's Pizza because they're open until 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're just like, you know what, I really want something to eat and I'm gonna be a pig today and eat what I want, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you can go get pizza. So I love the whole pizza concept, and that was on Independence too when I went on my first cruise ship, and I was like, oh, unlimited pizza, you can't go wrong with that. So the unlimited pizza was great. Playmakers, I already talked about that. And then the Sweet Lounge. So the Sweet Lounge is up there with Coastal Kitchen. So the Coastal Kitchen is on one part of the ship in the Sweet Lounge, and then you have the actual lounge of the suite, okay, the Sweet Lounge. So you have actual like chairs and sitting areas, and you can watch people like play pickleball. And you know, if you just want to chill up there, read a book, have a good time, go ahead and do that. It's very, very worth it. So let's talk about some of the things that we did not like when it comes to our cruise ship. Windjammer's not like the main dining room, but Windjammer's like you can go in there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is actually included inside of your cruise fare. So the Windjammer, we were not impressed with the breakfast food. So I think that was our very first day that we went, and that was when we went to CocoCay, Bahamas, for, you know, at Royal Caribbean's private island. That was on that day. So the very first day that we left Port Canaveral, that was the next stop. And we were not impressed. So we were like, yeah, the Windjammer is a no for us. So from that point on, we just ate breakfast at Coastal Kitchen, and that was worth it. Okay, that was so worth it. So Windjammer breakfast, it just wasn't hitting like we thought it would. The last time it was really good, but we were just like, this isn't it. Wonderland, okay? Wonderland is different. So if you are a big Alice in Wonderland fan, it's going to be cool. It's a very cool restaurant concept. The food was, let me put it this way, it was different, okay? I neither liked it nor didn't like it, okay? Because there were certain parts where I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. So there was one particular food where you had like, it was like in a cone, and it was shrimp in it, or like some type of seafood in it, and it had like wasabi at the top. The wasabi was not that hot, so okay. But the concept was weird. So you had the Mad Hatter, he came around to the tables and talked to everybody. Your menu was kind of like an invisible menu. And then you would take like a paintbrush and you would like dip it in some like water or something, and you would like do all of this, and you could see the whole menu, and everything that was on the menu was everything that you're going to get. So it comes down to like little small plates. So it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna choose this, this, this. No, they bring out everything to you at your table. It was interesting. That's all I can say. So I know that Royal Caribbean is kind of coming to the point to where it's like you can just book, you know, all of your reservations for your dining experience online before you even get on the ship. I don't know when they're going to do that, but I didn't like that we had to do our reservations for Izumi at Izumi only. And then everything else you can just kind of book on the app if you want to. But Izumi was like, hey, you gotta come here in order to make a reservation. And then after that, once I did that and I stood in the line to do that, another thing that we were not really like okay with was that, so let me tell you. So of course this was my second Royal Caribbean cruise ship. So on Independence of the Seas, there's like this area, and I guess it's just how they built the ships, the Freedom class ships. So there's like a party area, you can dance, have a good time, they will play music. That was not on Wonder of the Seas. So like the pool area, the way they designed it, you really do not have room to be like, hey, let's dance, it's a whole party like they do on Carnival. Of course, the two cruise companies are different, but that was one of the things that I remember on my very first Royal Caribbean cruise, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe we get to experience that on Wonder of the Seas, and I did not. Not saying that I was upset about it, but they just didn't have that type of area. So not a problem at all. I still had a good time. There are some things that we did not try or do, but we will try to do these again in September when we go back on Wonder of the Seas. So we did not attend the comedy club. Perfectly fine. We didn't get to see the comedian, so we're going to do that for the next time. The next thing that we're going to try to do is go to the casino. So I heard that there is like a non-smoking section in the casino. That's where I'm trying to be at because I can't deal with cigarette smoke. So I'm not trying to be in the main part of the casino, but I heard that it's still in the main part of the casino where you still smell the smoke. So this just may be something that you have to deal with. We did not try ice skating. I don't even know if it was like available. It could have been. I'm not really too sure. We went through the gym, but I did not actually work out at the gym. I walked through. It was very nice, very nice. But we did not go through. We did not actively participate in working out. There were people who did. I applaud them and commend them for it. I didn't do it because I was here like, listen, I worked my butt off to get on this cruise ship and do and experience all these good things. The gym will have to wait. We did not go to Chops Grill. And I think my husband was just kind of like, oh, it's kind of like every other steak restaurant or whatever. But I'm like, listen, we paid for this. It's included in our dining package. I think that we should try it out. So I'm going to make sure that we go to Chops Grill the next time. And we did not try out the Solarium Bistro. So I wasn't really too sure if you had to pay for it. Or if it's included, but for some reason I was not able to go in and get food. I don't know what that was about. Maybe I just did not know what was going on, so I just didn't do it. But that is it. That is our experience on Wonder of the Seas, and let me tell you, we absolutely had a wonderful time. Now, I'm not saying that we had a wonderful time because we had a grand suite. I'm just saying overall, this was a very good cruise experience, and this was our very first time experiencing the Oasis class ships. So I look forward to going on other Oasis class ships, especially Utopia, which is coming out in a couple of months. And those are 3 to 4 day cruises that you can do on that ship. So I look forward for us, to booking one of those. But overall, we loved Wonder of the Seas, and I think that you all should definitely try it if you're thinking about booking it. So I'm not a cruise expert or a travel agent, but I highly suggest if you want to, just kind of based upon my opinion and our opinion of what we liked about the ship, I think you should do it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.